So this is mold, and I know they had to have talked about mold a little bit today, but you have to think about how to prepare your property. You know, you're buying homes that are turnkey, but you still need to do a home inspection to verify that everything is done properly. HUD has a lot of guidelines that are going to help you prepare the property right. For example, if there's more than 3 steps or a 36-inch drop, then there has to be a handrail. If there's a handrail and there's a space with that 36-inch drop, then you have to have spindles or balusters, whatever you call them in this part of the country, and they can be no more than 4 inches apart, because if they're more than 4 inches apart, a small child can put their head in there, fall down, and strangle themselves. And these are areas of liability that as you're buying those beautifully rehabbed homes, you don't always think about, but your home inspector should validate for you. Porch height, you know, smoke detectors are common sense, but when you're buying a home that the rehabber has done, make sure that those have been put in there. Your property manager is going to do that, your home inspector is going to do that. Carbon monoxide detectors, and then finally trip hazards. You need to make sure that the property that you're buying has addressed this list of items. Plus, go on the HUD list and look at all the things that they have there. If you have a landlord that has ever rented to a Section 8 customer, then the Section 8 has a checklist that's very similar. You know, if there's a window that goes to on the 2nd floor, there has to be a lock on it. You know, that seems common sense, but in a house 100 years old, some of them don't have those, so they've got to be installed. But these are ways that, you know, when you think about it, this is a way to limit your liability, making sure the property is prepared right. We don't allow tenants to have fireplaces, gas stoves, trampolines, or swimming pools, because we know those are areas that cause liability. And even Affinity, the gentleman that was here earlier today from Affinity Group Management, that is all of those of you that have houses with me, that's your insurance company, so you'll be happy to know you have great coverage. But they even charge extra for people that have swimming pools and trampolines because they recognize it's a liability. So if they recognize it, we should probably pay attention and eliminate those. And Kathy, when we were doing the webinar last week, she said, well, what about candles? If there was possibly a way that I could eliminate candles, and maybe cooking too, because that's the other way that they burn our houses down. But you know, those are all things that you can think about to have in your lease, to have your property prepared right. Next, and you don't think about this as much, but it's deadbolts and lighting. I've attended a couple of classes with the local police department, and it's called POPS program, Problem-Oriented Policing. And they teach us, and this is also a tort issue, which Brett probably touched upon. If someone has a house that's broken into and you haven't provided a deadbolt, then you have liability there. So we make sure that the houses have the best locks possible. And the second thing, especially in a multifamily, you want to make sure that you have adequate lighting so someone can't, you know, get pulled behind the bush and beat up or something. But these are also things that you can do to prepare your property. Make sense?